Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking Most Reliable Broadband UK, Ofcom Audit, Hidden Costs, and Smarter Switching today, and tying it back to the wider cost-saver ecosystem, including tools like Most Reliable Broadband UK, Ofcom Provider Audit, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are getting into something that honestly affects, all of us, broadband, and specifically how reliable your broadband actually is versus what it says on the tin. Assad's here with me, as always. Hey, Assad.
Hey, Angela. Yeah, broadband. Everyone's favorite topic until it stops working, and then it becomes everyone's least favorite topic.
That is so true. It's one of those things you just take for granted until you're sat there buffering in the middle of a Teams call, wanting to throw the router out the window.
Exactly. And that's kind of the whole point of what we're talking about today, right? Because most people, when they shop for broadband, they look at one number, the headline download speed, and that number tells you almost nothing about whether your connection will actually hold up when you need it.
Okay, so break that down for me, because I'll be honest, I'm one of those people. I see the big number, I think, great, that's fast, and I sign up.
Yeah, and you're not alone. But think about it this way. A 900 megabit per second line that drops out twice a week it's objectively worse than a steady 80 megabit per second line that just never wobbles. Speed is the brochure, reliability is what you actually live with.
That's a good way to put it.
And you know, the cost of getting it wrong is real. Like a single dropped client call, a botched school upload, that stuff can cost you more than a year of paying for a better service. So it's not just an inconvenience thing, it's actually a financial thing too.
Right, so what does Ofcom actually look at when they measure reliability? Because I'm guessing it's more than just, is the light on the router green or not?
Yeah, a bit more than that. So they track several dimensions. Network uptime, that's the percentage of time your connection actually works. Fault rates, which is how often customers report a problem per 100 lines. Then there's latency and jitter, which is the lag and inconsistency that absolutely wreck video calls and gaming.
God, jitter. Is that the thing where the audio goes all robotic?
That's part of it. It's basically the inconsistency in the signal. And then they also track repair times, so how long a provider takes to actually fix something once you've reported it. Complaint volumes, customer service responsiveness, how quickly you can speak to an actual human being.
That last one, that's the one that gets me. Being stuck on hold for.
Yeah, 45 minutes listening to the same loop of hold music. We've all been there.
So, Ofcom publishes all this in a report every year?
They do, yeah. It's called the Comparing Service Quality Report, and they also put out quarterly complaints data. It's honestly the closest thing the UK has to an independent reliability scorecard, and the gaps between providers they're bigger than most people realize.
Okay, so give us who's actually doing well, who's not?
Right, so the headline picture from recent reports, EE and Sky consistently lead on overall customer satisfaction, both for the service itself and for how they handle things when stuff goes wrong. They tend to score around 83 to 86% on overall satisfaction.
That's pretty high.
It is, and then BT sits in a sort of respectable middle position. Good network performance, but they carry a heavier complaint load, which is interesting because EE is actually part of BT Group now, so
Wait, really? They're the same company but perform differently?
yeah, same parent group, different customer experience. This is kind of fascinating, honestly. And then Virgin Media is the interesting one. They offer some of the fastest speeds in the country. Their cable network actually performs well on reliability specifically, but they've historically attracted disproportionate complaints about customer service and billing.
So fast but frustrating?
Kind of, yeah. And then TalkTalk and Vodafone tend to bring up the rear on satisfaction, though both have been making improvements. Vodafone's full fiber product has been getting better. But if you choose either of those, I'd say do it with your eyes open and, think about what your time is actually worth when something goes wrong.
That's a good way to frame it. What about PlusNet? I feel like they fly under the radar.
They do. PlusNet's a budget-friendly arm of BT Group, and they actually punch above their weight on customer service satisfaction. Product range is more limited, but yeah, worth looking at if you're cost-conscious.
Okay, now I want to get into something that I think is going to, well, it's going to annoy a lot of people listening. Hidden costs.
Yeah, this is where households quietly lose hundreds of pounds without even realizing. The advertised monthly price, rarely what you actually pay over the life of the contract.
Go on.
The biggest one by far is the mid-contract price rise. Most major providers now apply an annual increase tied to CPI, the Consumer Price Index, plus an additional percentage on top, often around 3.9% on top of CPI.
On top of? So it's not just inflation, it's inflation plus?
Plus their own markup, yeah. And on a 24-month contract during a high inflation year, that can add 100 pounds or more to what you originally signed up for.
100 pounds? That's actually wild.
It is. So like a deal advertised at 28 pounds a month, by month 18 of your contract, you could be paying 32 or more. And Ofcom has been tightening the rules around disclosure, but the rises themselves are perfectly legal.
So you really need to do the maths on the total cost, not just the monthly number.
Exactly. And there's more. Activation or setup fees, those can range from nothing up to about 35 pounds. Router delivery charges that some providers just quietly slip into the order summary. Cease fees if you're leaving open reach for cable or full fiber.
Sorry, cease fees? What are those?
So if you're moving from a provider that uses the OpenReach network to, say, Virgin Media's cable network, there can be charges associated with that switch. And then engineer visit charges, this one really winds people up. If a fault is judged to be inside your home, they'll charge you for the visit, even if it turns out to be their problem. And early termination fees can total hundreds of pounds if you need to get out early.
That is a lot.
There was actually, let me give you a real example. There was a case of someone, Sarah from Leeds, who signed up to a deal at 26 pounds a month on a 24-month contract. By month 14, after a CPI-linked rise of about $4 and a one-off engineer charge of $85 for a fault that turned out to be the provider's anyway, her effective monthly cost had crept up to nearly $34. Over the whole contract, she paid almost $180 more than the headline figure suggested.
Oh, that's horrible. And she couldn't get the engineer charge back?
And the fault took 3 weeks to resolve, which cost her 2 days of remote work she had to take as unpaid leave. So the real cost was even higher than the 180. Does that make sense? Like, it's not just the money on the bill, it's the knock-on effects.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's talk about mistakes, because I know I've made some of these. What are the big ones people make?
Well, we've touched on the first one. Assuming fiber means full fiber. A lot of providers market fiber broadband when they actually mean fiber to the cabinet, where copper carries the signal the last stretch. You want FTTP, fiber to the premises, where the fiber goes all the way into your home. That's inherently more stable.
And I suppose that links to what you said earlier about the technology mattering more than the brand?
Yeah, exactly. If you can get FTTP, that single decision will improve your reliability more than switching brands. That's a pretty big statement, but the data backs it up.
What's mistake number 2?
Ignoring upload speed. Everyone looks at download, but upload matters enormously for video calls, cloud backups, working from home. The headline speed is almost always the download figure, and people just don't think about the upload side.
I hadn't thought about that. I don't think I even know what my upload speed is.
Most people don't. And then the third one, and Angela, you already admitted to this one, not running a switching check before your contract ends.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
If you let your contract roll over, you'll almost always end up on the most expensive tariff. often $10 to $15 a month more than what a new customer would pay for the same thing.
That stings. So you're basically being punished for loyalty.
Essentially, yeah. So the advice is diarize your renewal date the day you sign up. Set a reminder for 30 days before your minimum term expires. 20 minutes of switching every 2 years can save you $200 to $400.
Wait, $200 to $400 just from not being lazy about it?
Just from not being lazy about it. Most regret around broadband costs comes from inertia, not from a bad initial choice.
Okay, I'm literally going to check my contract end date after this. What about the switching process itself, though? Because I think a lot of people, me included, worry about being offline for ages or getting hit with some credit check that messes up their score.
Yeah, so this is a really important one. Under Ofcom's one-touch switch process, which became mandatory in September 2024, switching should be smooth and largely handled for you. Downtime is usually under an hour, you won't be charged by two providers at once, and the credit checks for broadband are soft checks. They don't affect your score.
Oh, I didn't realize that. The credit check thing, I mean.
Yeah, and you also get a 14-day cooling off period. So if the new service doesn't work as promised, you can back out. There's genuinely far less risk than the industry's marketing sort of implies.
That's actually really reassuring. Okay, what about social tariffs? Because I feel like those don't get talked about enough.
They really don't. If you're on universal credit, pension credit, or certain other benefits, you may qualify for a social tariff costing as little as $15 to $20 a month. And Ofcom estimates millions of eligible households are missing out. The take-up is it's far below what it should be.
Millions. Wow. So people are paying full price when they don't have to be.
Exactly. And look, there's no shame in it. It's what they're there for. Definitely worth checking.
Okay, so for someone listening right now thinking, right, I need to actually sort this out. Where do they start? What's the framework?
All right, so a few things. First, be honest about your usage. If you're one person streaming Netflix in the evenings, you do not need 900 Mbps. If you're four adults working from home with kids gaming at night, you probably do. Match the tech and speed to your actual life, not to a sales script.
Right.
Second, weight customer service heavily. The audit data is consistent on this. Providers who answer the phone, fix problems quickly, handle complaints well, they're worth a few pounds more per month. Calculate what an hour of your time is worth, and then ask yourself how many hours of frustration that cheap deal might cost.
Fair enough. I've never thought about it in those terms, but yeah.
And then third, and I keep coming back to this, build a habit of reviewing every 2 years. The market changes, full fiber rolls out to more postcodes, your needs evolve. A standing diary entry is the single most valuable habit you can build around household bills. It's not glamorous, but it works.
And I suppose one more thing. You mentioned checking what technology is actually available at your postcode.
Yeah, that's crucial because the Ofcom data is national averages, right? Your local exchange, your street's cabling, even your specific block of flats can dramatically change the experience. Two neighbors on the same provider can have wildly different reliability, so do a postcode level check before you commit to anything.
And be cautious of those cashback deals too, right? I feel like those can be a bit.
Yeah, be careful. A £100 cashback offer on a 24-month deal can actually work out worse than a flexible 12-month contract elsewhere, once you account for mid-contract price rises. So always do the full maths. Don't let a shiny upfront incentive lock you into something that costs more overall.
Okay, Assad, this has been really eye-opening. Can you give us the quick recap for anyone who's been half listening while doing the dishes?
Sure. So, number one, don't shop on speed alone. Look at the Ofcom satisfaction data. EE and Sky tend to lead, but check what's actually available at your postcode. Number two, check whether you can get full fiber, FTTP. That one upgrade does more for reliability than almost anything else. Number three, always project the total contract cost, including those mid-contract price rises. A cheap headline price can hide an extra £100 or more over 2 years.
Brilliant. And honestly, that diary reminder thing, I think that alone could save people hundreds. Thanks so much, Assad.
Thanks, Angela. And honestly, just don't be afraid to switch. It's so much easier than it used to be.
You heard the man. Go check your contract end date. We'll see you next time. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially Debt Payoff Avalanche versus Snowball Method, UKMP Cost of Living Scorecard Guide, and UK Pension Carry Forward Calculator Guide.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Most Reliable Broadband UK Ofcom Provider Audit right after this episode.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Most Reliable Broadband UK Ofcom Provider Audit, then read Debt Payoff Avalanche versus Snowball Method, and use them together to take action today.